The Real Estate and Mortgage Show, your go-to spot for everything home buying, selling, and financing on News Talk 580 CFRA.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. So, Frank, with these job numbers, and we must have some GDP numbers and stuff coming out
They
soon.
do. There are inflation numbers coming out, GDP numbers are coming out, and then, of course, Bank of Canada is about a month away now.
Probably stand pat.
June 10th. It feels that way right now, but who knows? I mean, anything can change. Feels like, if anything, south of the border, we could see them drop it by a quarter point in June because they've got a new Fed chair going in the end of this month.
Jerome Powell's out at
Jerome
the end
Powell's
of this month.
and I can't remember the new guy's name. I'm sure I'll have it memorized in a month or so because he'll be in the news so much. But once he starts, it sure sounds like he's already changing the metrics on how inflation's calculated. Even though it's been calculated the same way for 50 years, he thinks the metrics are wrong. So he's going to change them, which will allow him to lower prime rate based on those new metrics that he thinks are the right metrics.
And will that force Bank of Canada to follow suit?
I don't think so. I don't think Bank of Canada is going to follow necessarily what the U.S. does, but it certainly opens up their eyes. Now, Australia went up a quarter point this past week. There's been a couple.
What are their rates at? What are their rates at? Do we know?
So they do like 30-year mortgages.
Right,
they're in the fives. So
yeah, I think my sister said that.
Again, it's not cheap because the prices of homes in Australia is not low. I mean, it's like a Toronto and Vancouver, or if you live in most of the centers in Australia.
Well, that's
my
what.
Sister,
when your sister was in the studio, she was saying the same.
She has a small little townhouse that she bought. I think she paid about $750 to $800 for it. And that was probably 5-6 years ago. She said right now, especially with the summer games going there in 2032 or something, or maybe 30, she says the value. Now, keep in mind, she lives in the Gold Coast. That's like being in the States and living in like Miami or Fort Lauderdale or one of those places. So she lives in the cat's meow of paradise. But she said her little townhome's now probably 1.2, maybe 1.3 little townhome.
Wow, really? Crazy.
Yeah, and like, keep in mind there, like even gas prices. They're $3 a liter for gas prices.
That's what it was when she was here a month ago.
Yeah. And also like vehicles. Let's say a simple little Honda Civic that's, I don't know, 30, 40 grand is probably about 60, 70 there.
What are the wages like there, though?
She said very similar to what we have here. Like the wages
and
are
taxes. It's not about the wages. I think the wages are good in Canada, but once you incorporate taxes, and even a couple of the MPs made this comment. One of them said it doesn't make sense. I buy a car, I pay HST on it, and then when I sell it, somebody else pays HST on the same car that has already been.
Well,
I said, well, yeah, that's our point. Our point is that there's too much taxes. We need relief in other places, unless you guys are willing to reduce taxes across the board. So,
well, I've been in San Diego probably 3 times in the last 6 or 7 months, and I always love talking to Uber drivers, and I love talking to people like, especially the Uber drivers. And I get a lot of sense of what's going on, and people are leaving California in droves now because for taxes, also for affordability, but for taxes. And I'm like, so what is your top earner's tax rate? And I can't remember the number, but it was something like, oh, it's crazy high. It's like 40%. And I'm like, in Canada, it's 54%, right? Like, they're like, what? And I'm like, you're leaving in droves because your taxes are way less than us, and we live in Canada, which, I mean,
we're not leaving.
But let's be honest. Our climate is not the greatest here in Ottawa. Like our summers are stinking hot, and our winters are freezing cold. Like San Diego, you have sun 24/7, 365,
sunny and 22 every day,
and their taxes are way less than ours. But people are leaving because of how high their taxes are. And I'm telling them about Canada, and I'm like, our taxes are way higher than you guys. What you guys are paying in tax, and then there's some states that have no state tax, like. They're in a better position. We are taxed through the nose here.
We are. That's the problem, right? The after-tax dollars, not a lot left to begin with. If you're, we talked about again in Parliament Hill. I mean, these MPs kind of ask these questions. It's like you realize that to buy a house in Toronto, your income needs to be north of $200,000. Well, there's not a lot of jobs out there that, especially younger Canadians, are making $200,000. Even a couple.
Yeah,
maybe 4 people together are making $200,000, but not 2 people in a lot of cases if they're just starting their careers. So what do?
How do you expect people to get in?
Yeah. They're stuck renting, and we all know what the rental prices are like. Like they're high. Once you get into that rental trap, it's hard to get into home ownership after that because you're not only paying, I don't know, like here in Ottawa, you might have a townhouse in suburbia is anywhere from low end of 25 and a high end of $3 grand. plus you have utilities on top of that, plus you have gas and groceries and car payments and Visa bills. It's really hard.
So how do you sock away a little bit of extra money to get that down payment?
That's the problem. You go back 10 years ago, and 10 years ago, the average townhome was less than $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, your down payment was $15,000, which is easily put away. Rents on these properties would have been $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. Yep. So, even if you're not making what you're making today, you still had some extra cash sitting around to be able to save your down payment. And a lot of first-time home buyers were able to save. But now when you get to the average townhouse being $550,000, now you got to sock away $35,000, which is much more difficult. On top of that, you're paying $2,500, $2,600, $2,700 in rent, not to mention internet's through the roof.
TV,
utilities are through the roof. Like everything's through the roof.
Yeah.
So
sounds like we're being very pessimistic, but the truth is it's reality. Like I don't care how much money you make. You can make $50,000 a year or $250,000 a year. I know people who are making a couple $100,000 a year and living paycheck to paycheck. They live a good life, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck. The reality is, life is tough right now. The expenses are through the roof, and the taxes are a killer here in Canada.
Well, even just like looking at the expenses, like we were just talking about a second ago, if rents have doubled in the last 6 years on a townhouse from $1,200 to $2,500. Salaries have not doubled.
No, that's the problem.
So,
and rents went up so quick. I remember I was renting
so fast.
I was renting out one of my townhomes. This was probably 7 years ago, and I'd consistently get $1,500 a month for this townhome in suburbia, consistently. So I was getting ready to put it on the market, and a realtor friend of mine said, "What are you putting it on at?" And I said, I might squeeze it up to 16. He's like, "Have you kept an eye on what's going on in the rental prices in the last, let's say, 2 months?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I haven't really checked that much into the rental prices." He's like, "You could probably get about 18 for your unit." I was like, "Come on." I literally put it on at $1,700, and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. It was like
an avalanche of applications.
It was a bidding war for this place. It was a bidding war. Yeah. That was like 7 years ago, and that was like $1,700. Well, now that same townhouse I'm renting for $2,800. So like it's the rental prices have gone crazy, whereas our salaries have not gone crazy like that, which is crazy. And they just keep taking money out of our pockets for taxes, right? So
yeah, exactly what we were talking about before. Well, speaking of taxes and stuff, we actually had a pretty interesting listener question come in this week from the realestateandmortgageshow.com from Kyle. Kyle says, "Hello, my algorithm must know that I'm interested in real estate as I keep seeing reels regarding cash damming when you have a primary residence and at least one rental. Have you ever heard of the cash damming strategy? If yes, and if structured properly, would you suggest it to pay off primary residence faster?"
Well, again, it's a strategy that's out there.
Explain
Not a lot of people use it.
Basically,
what you do is you take your rental income, you use the rental income to pay your mortgage on your house, and then you take a home, as long as you have the equity in your home, you take out a home equity line of credit on your home, and you use it to pay the mortgage on the rental, which means it's tax deductible because the rental property is an investment property. So therefore you're borrowing from your home equity line of credit, but because that money is being used for the investment property, then you get to write off the interest on it. The problem in Canada is that the banks don't necessarily structure mortgages to take advantage of these types of programs. So your bookkeeping has to be impeccable. And you got to hope that you get the right CRA person that views it the way it's supposed to be viewed, even though it's written properly. Because the problem is that you take a chance of CRA saying no to it. Now you've gone to the expense of doing it all just to find out that they're not going to let you write off the interest on it. So you got to be careful. My advice is talk to a good tax accountant, talk to a good tax lawyer, make sure it's structured properly, get their advice on how to do it, the dates, the bookkeeping, so that you've got everything pinpoint so that if CRA comes back to you and says, "Hey, we're not allowing this," you can go back to them and say, "Here's what I've done. Here's my ledger of how I did everything. And according to the rules, I'm allowed to write off the interest." Otherwise, you're going to find CRA saying nope and move on.
The key is get yourself a good accountant, right?
100%.
Like, because it's legal, but
100%. I wish there was a product out there, though. I wish there was a bank or lender that had a product that gave that automatic readvanceable. It's just there's a lot of manual work in doing it.
Right.
So for a lot of people, they say all the manual work that I got to do in doing this,
not worth it.
It's not worth it. For a few $100 or a couple of $1,000, it's not worth it. It's too much work to do it. So again, everybody needs to assess it on their own.
Yeah, it was an interesting question for sure.
Maneuver. There's lots of names for these products, and I think the concept is good, but actually putting it to practice is what's difficult.
Challenging.
We were talking earlier just about how crazy the taxes are here in Canada. So if there's any things like that is legal, but that's where a good accountant comes in to make sure that you can do some of these things, that they are approved by CRA and they are legal, but they're done right.
Yeah, the structure is set up exactly properly, so you're not bitten.
Has to be
bitten in the end, right?
It has to be, because otherwise, I don't know, for anybody that's gone through arguments with CRA, very difficult to win once they get their. Once they make a decision on something, try to get it overturned is a long process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Almost every time. Almost every time.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I think everybody's had little bump-ins with CRA, and I know they're doing their job, and that's what they're supposed to be doing, is keeping an eye on the revenue for the country.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's tricky when you're up against that powerful mountain.
And the argument you hear from a lot of people is, wait a second, are they auditing what the government's doing? Because, CRA should be going after the government for all the misspending and all the stuff that they're doing, but yet, they're going after hardworking people. So there's a lot of
hardworking people who employ hardworking people. Who are
either
paying
they're
taxes
employed or they're employing and they're paying taxes, and yet you're going hard after them and leaving big corporations and or government alone for doing similar things. So I think that's what a lot of the everyday person complains about. And listen, look at Donald Trump is suing the IRS. How do you sue your own government like your president? He's suing the IRS.
He's suing himself, technically, right?
Technically,
one thing I learned early in my career is that you have to have the best team behind you, and that includes an accountant, a lawyer, corporate lawyer. You have to be set up with the smartest minds, and it's worth its weight in gold, because, like I said, any way you can find some sort of way to make more money is really what you want to do. So I learned that early.
You forgot divorce lawyer too. You should have a really good divorce lawyer in your pocket.
And I did.
Hey, I got a text from someone saying Avalon in Ottawa is what San Diego is. So is that true? You live in Avalon?
Avalon, yes. Well, I live out that way, and I've actually lived in Avalon, and it is a beautiful place. I'm not going to say it's San Diego, though. I can tell you that. I can tell you that.
There's no beautiful view of the ocean from.
Well, so it's funny.
It sinks a lot, there. But
when Petra and I went to San Diego, we decided to go look at an open house. So we're in La Jolla, California, which is like the rock cliff, which is like the rock cliff of California, and so we see this house. It's a small little place in a time warp. Looks like it needs to be completely gutted and ripped down. But you walk in, and all it is windows overlooking the up in the mountains, overlooking the La Jolla beach, the most beautiful view you've ever seen. And I said to the guy, the house is just terrible. Like it's in terrible shape. I said, what you asking for the house? He goes, $6 million. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, you know what you can get for $6 million in Ottawa? Like you can get a neighborhood.
Anything you want.
Anything you want.
Whatever you want. Yep.
Yeah. So that's fascinating. So a place that's completely run down needs to be gutted, redone. $6 million.
Now you're in La Jolla, California, overlooking the beach and the beautiful water and stuff. And it's like a picturesque setting. But there's places, as you went up the cliffs in La Jolla, there's places that were $80, $100, $60 million, like just insane. Something we definitely don't know about here in Ottawa.
We do not have places like that here in Ottawa, that's for sure. Have a question, head over to realestateandmortgageshow.com and submit it there, or give us a call at 521-TALK, 521-8255. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everybody. So, Frank, it's been a little bit of a downer talking about all the numbers and jobs and all that kind of stuff. Taxes. It's the reality, though. Like you said, Paul, like this is the world we live in right now. So we're not alone.
We're not the only country. It's not like we're facing this and other countries are living well. U.S. people are struggling. You look at other countries. I mean, we complain about $1.80 for a liter. Like you said, Australia's $3.
The States is $4.50 a gallon.
But Europe is no difference. In Italy, it's $3, €3 a liter. €3 a liter.
Yeah. You're edging up into $5 a liter there.
But you know what? There's other places, like we talked about in the break, like you mentioned, how affordable it is to live in Italy and to buy something in Italy. My girlfriend's family is Slovakian, and her dad lives over in Slovakia, and like their property taxes are a couple €100 a year. Affordability, fresh food, like the affordability over there is way better than in the States and in Canada, way better. And a lot of these European countries and Besides London, England, but a lot of these places, it is more affordable. Quality of life is probably better. Weather is better in most of these places. So we do have to do something here in Canada and the U.S. because affordability throughout. I mean, I'm down the States a lot traveling with my real estate program, and they're struggling just as bad as we are. I mean, you look at some of these cities, and there's a lot of people in here from California, from Florida, from all over the place in the States, and like they tell me their average sale price, and I'm like, you guys, like, what does a teacher make over there? $500,000? They're like, no, same as you guys. I'm like, how do you afford to buy in some of these places? Affordability around the world, especially in North America, is tough. Is very, very tough right now.
Yeah, which I don't fully understand. It's not like we're short on land here.
No, I know.
Like it's,
building
like
a house, right? I mean, you talked about Dallas, Texas. You can get a 4,000 square foot home for $500,000.
Yeah.
Here, a 4,000 square foot home, minimum 1.2 to 1.4 million.
100%.
And so, what is it? The labor, the goods. Like, what costs more expensive?
I can tell you, it's going to come
taxes
out.
Taxes are a big part of it.
It's going to come out in a little bit, and I don't want to sort of tip it off too much right now, but. We've talked about builders getting shovels in the ground. We have to build quicker and all that stuff. I see something that's going on right now with Charles with Clement Homes that is probably going to come out in the news very shortly. But he's having an absolute nightmare trying to build these properties. And he's got trades just ready to rock and roll, ready to start building feverishly. And he's in this standstill. He's been in this standstill for like 6 months waiting for this. Yet the government comes out and says, "Oh yeah, we're giving permits out like candy." Like it's just easy.
There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between all levels of government right now because we've got the federal government giving the provincial government, who's giving the municipal government money to make building easier. But it sounds like it's at the municipal part that the struggle seems to be, at least according to the provincial and federal governments. They're saying it's not us. It's your municipal government that's actually holding back and overcharging for
development
permits
charges
and taking their time issuing permits. It's just wrong, and we don't get. I never understood it because you see a big parcel of land that you're getting no revenue on, and all of a sudden there's going to be 500 homes. You look at the revenue that's coming from these homes. I don't know why you would take your time issuing those permits.
No, there's a lot of places in the States where the permits are easy. Like you'll see a shopping mall, a house, a gas station of this. Not here in Ottawa, not here in Canada. Like everything has to be just perfect. You have to build the exact same product everywhere. Like there's just building in the U.S. is way different than building in Canada. I mean, I'm just going to talk about Ottawa, but just building in Ottawa is a nightmare. And I know a lot of builders. I have a lot of small builder friends, medium builder friends, and large builder friends. And every single one of them says it is tough to get permits, to get approvals, to get everything, to get shovels in the ground. And until we can do that, our prices are going to continue to skyrocket, and we're not going to get ahead. So I think the all levels of government maybe need to get on the same page and chat with each other because this is a nightmare right now. I can tell you what's going on with Charles.
Well, and from the first segment, get us some clarity on what the heck's happening with this HST.
I hope to have some news next Saturday. Obviously, I'm at Queen's Park on Monday, and hope we'll get some. And a couple of the MPPs I'm meeting with are from Ottawa, so I'm going to bring up the fact of the development charges that builders are having to endure.
Yeah. No, keep in mind, we can't get too greedy. I mean, it's only been a short time that they've announced this program, right? It's only been like a year.
Well, it was supposed to be active on April 1st.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Really
all right.
So,
Frank, birthdays?
Yeah, my niece's son, Marcus, so he's my great-nephew, I guess, celebrates his second birthday, so happy birthday to Marcus. And my sister-in-law, Carmela, celebrating her birthday. And very, very important, happy Mother's Day to all the moms tomorrow. My beautiful mom, my favorite mother-in-law, my favorite wife. I only have one, but she's my favorite wife. She's a great mom. And my two beautiful daughters who are amazing moms as well. So happy Mother's Day to all moms out there.
Definitely.
I think I mentioned last week, I think Ryan and Jake, I mentioned their birthdays last week, but Ryan Anguster had his birthday yesterday from my team, and also Jake Prescott, who his birthday is actually today. So happy birthday there. And I'll echo what Frank said too. Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. I'm very fortunate to have some lovely ladies in my life who are just wonderful mothers. So.
Amazing. Have a great week, everybody. Happy Mother's Day.
And support local business and charities, everyone.